Alrighty. Well, looks like everything is alive now. Everything's live. Cool. Well, again, last day on Earth, December 21st, 2012. And we're making a Laravel 12 app in 2012. Who would have thought? Now, the Mayan calendar ends today, so we're going to see what happened. I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie called 2012, but maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. Who knows? But for today, I'm going to be developing a church management application using Laravel 12. And the watchers so graciously put this together so that this can happen. So if we jump into it, PHP Storm. I did a little bit of work already, just trying to kind of make things easier to start it up. I'm not sure if people want to see all the models and migrations and everything that were put up. But as you can see here, if we go to the migrations, there's all the migrations here. I don't even think I deleted these. I have Laravel 12, PHP 8.4. We're using the Redis driver, but we're using something called Valkey. And just zip a Laravel app right now. As you can see, what I was looking at earlier, it's just the start page. Mostly just getting the models done. So today I'm going to go over the little structure that I like to build my applications in. And that's using something called a service class, or I guess people will call it service pattern, but it's just like the way I like to do things. So pretty much the reason why I do this is because whenever I do the front end or the website, it's pretty much the same kind of business logic, and so I just encapsulate it. I think that's the right word. Encapsulate it to a service class, which is a dependency injection, instantiates it, and then it just runs it. Maybe all these classes could be static. I don't know. It's just the way I do it. And so when I do it on the API side, I do things in the controller part that may be a little different, and then I pass things in. And then when I do it on the website, same thing, right? But all I really have to do on the controller, so if I go to the steady controller, just dependency inject it, and I'm good to go. And I can just do the index class or index function, use the index function on the service class, and it's all done for me. So it's pretty easy, I'd say. Yeah, I could go over pretty much the migrations and then just finish up anything else I was thinking about. But I'm just doing stream for like an hour. So let's see, the users table. We have things a little bit different. The idea again of this app is a church management app, and it's some structure that I'm used to as far as how administrative things work for me in the church I go to. So we have the first name, middle name, last name, maiden name, other name. So maiden name before they're married. Other name is if they go by a nickname, but we need first and last name to, tax letters and stuff to make sure we have the right one. Email, which is just an email that they have on file, and then there is a login email. Login email is what they would use to log in. If they don't have a login email, this field's null and you can't log in. So, email verification, standard Laravel stuff. Profile path. Now, there was Laravel Breeze, but with Laravel 12, with the starter kits, there's no longer those kind of starter kits anymore. Birthday, and then birthday is their spiritual birthday when they're baptized. Gender, aliases. So aliases, different names they go by. Email aliases, different emails they have. Life status, that's pretty much like if they're going to school, if they're married or teen, yada yada. Spouse ID, so this would just be another user on the record, and then their password when they sign in, if they when they sign in. So I think this would probably be nullable for now. Now that I look at it. And then, yeah, that's the users table. We move on. Breeze through these. Let's see. Groups. Just a group that meets together. Oops. Groups table. Why do I have two groups table? Oh, it's group types. Okay, so these are group types, the type of groups. These are the actual group. If they're location description, lat and longitude for pinpointing on the map, active, photo, and a group log ID. So the group log is what we're going to look at next. The group log is pretty much a log of the group information. Typically has to do with what kind of administrative structure they're under. And then if they've split or merged, things like that. Okay. And group splits and group log splits, group log merges. These are just records of groups that have split or merged and to and from. Givings table, so this would just be a collection of information for the entries that are given towards the church. We have the information, name, when it was applied, the amount that they gave, currency, taxable, exclude, is it locked, meaning they can't update it, is it the gross amount versus the net amount? I always forget the difference, or not the difference, but like, which one's which. One is before taxes, one is after. Pledge, if they have a pledge. Offering ID is just I think I was going to get rid of that table. We'll see how it adapts as I develop it. Transaction method, transaction provider. So transaction method is how they made the transaction. Transaction provider. I'm not sure why this is unsigned. I'll have to double check that. I think I was trying to abstract it or something like that. But we'll tackle that later. But definitely not in this live stream though. A date, transaction date, when that transaction actually happened. Date attributed and transaction date. So if someone gives towards this Sunday and they give earlier in the week, date attributed would be the Sunday, transaction date would be the day that they gave it. Transaction ID for records, transaction fee. I think the transaction provider should be provider ID. I think, yeah, this is abstracted, but I'm pretty sure it's just, I don't think I have a migration for that or a different model. It's just like, hey, this is given on PayPal or this way or that way, whatever, Stripe. Yeah, user ID, if it's connected to an actual user. If it was given to someone else, then it's attributed to the person it's given to. What group is it attached to? Count sheet ID, what group is it recorded in? So there's a difference between the group that it's applied to and the group that it's recorded in. And then there's any note that needs to be aware of. So I think I could also add flags. So do table medium text. Yeah, that should be fine. Flags. And I don't remember if you do nullable on MySQL. I think I'm running MySQL, or I don't know, but we'll try it out. Again, change things if we run into issues. giving changes, an audit of the changes on the giving table. There's probably a better way of doing that, but this is just what came to mind when I made the migration structure. Special offerings, so it's I think it's similar. Oh, I think I did take the offerings table down. This is a special offering on the side that is accounted for. And these are more so like the goals of those special offerings and the campaign, the special offerings campaign, I guess you could call it. These are pledges towards that special offering. This is a table of people who led groups, or if they have if they oversee it somehow, and so it doesn't have to be ministry staff that leads it. It could be an administrator, etc. They just have access to that scope of groups as it recursively goes down. And yeah, when we get to the groups CTE stuff, it's gonna be crazy. Count sheets, they just have total information, just small information about the count sheet. Count sheets pretty much you just enter the records of what they given in person, assigns it to whoever, visitor, person on the system. It goes in the givings table, but the count sheet is kind of like a receipt of the entire giving, or a church receipt for the just overall general information about the giving for that in-person giving for that Sunday. You'll see it in action. Stats. These are just some statistics that are collected every week about the different groups at the certain hierarchies. And the groups that report these stats are called reporting groups. And they report, essentially. And people are attached to them to it as well, or users are attached to them. So we have here any predictions. So it's going to be predicted baptisms, predicted restorations, predicted place memberships. Place memberships is when someone just joins the church. So, then there's some number of studies, etc. I think in the future I'll probably abstract this to a predictions table. That way it's just not text you throw in there and you just have to parse it, or you just have to guess. Let's see what else. Some of it's attendance, so you can see here the number of adults, visitors, etc. Any notes in the group that it applies to. I could probably change this to completed at. So I remember seeing recently some kind of YouTube video that talked about, and I referenced someone else's blog or talk, or it was probably a tweet or something. Says you don't need booleans in your database or something, and mostly true. A lot of it can just be replaced with a date that is nullable, and so you get actually a lot more information out of that too. So if it's completed, it won't be null. If it's not, it's just null. And so when it is completed, you just get a nice timestamp. So bit of extra information there. Change requests. These are for tracking membership changes between churches and etc. Study lessons. This is more like a static, I guess technically static. I should probably put like an organization ID or something in here. Okay. Studies table. Bible studies. Some information about that, in which we were looking at the service and controller earlier. Discipler logs, this is basically mentorship, and it's just a record of that. Memberships table, and this is like the name of the table says, memberships. When it started, when it ended, what groups are connected to, disciplers, etc. Import logs, I'm trying to make this like polymorphic, because I think, importable is pretty much just, it could be more added to it, some better way. I don't know. This is just what I'm used to, what I like doing. And there's a start row, current row, when it was completed, what kind of import it is, the file path for the file that's being imported, and just the config. So it's just a JSON that's parsed about different things. I think it's like start at, or which columns map to what field to expect, things like that. And then what's being imported. Although I think these probably could be null sometimes. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. And cross that bridge when we get there. Post dated, it's just checks that are, for some reason, they have a future date on it that isn't the current day. So those are processed separately. Absences, this is for members who've missed church. Count sheet breakdown, I think this is similar to the count sheet now that I'm looking at it, but I guess the main purpose is to, I remember what this is. So this is pretty much, you count all the money, and then you do the bill denominations to see if it adds up to what you input. So let's say you have $100 that was given in total, and you put that, whoever it's attributed to, and then out of that $100 you see, okay, is it actually $100 when you break down the bill by bill? And so it could be 5 20s, it could be one $100 bill, it could be $100 in pennies, right? This would just be a JSON that says there's these many $2 bills, these many $1 bills, boom, boom, boom. I don't think we break down the coins, but technically you can on here. And it's just used to cross check. So it definitely saves some time and helps you see, like, oh, I accidentally gave too much or too little. Where does dollar go? So, and unlock requests. So this is pretty much a database lock, what they would probably call it. But this is also a way for an administrator to see this request and approve it and allow edits to be made to a certain thing. And so that's what we have. That's time to, after, almost 20 minutes of explaining my my schema, we finally get to do something. So, like I mentioned, I usually like to work on API first and then go into test, and I test it out. So I do the API and I kind of just step out what I want to do. And then once I have everything, I make a test to see if it actually works the way I'm thinking. And usually when I do the test, I either do the factory before, or I do the factory, or define the factory for that model or models that I'm using for the test to work properly. I will probably have to set up a separate database for the testing database, because I don't think SQLite supports common table expressions. So when I do recursive group hierarchies to grab the different groups, and usually I just cache it or something, but once I do that, I don't think I could test that with SQLite. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my experience before. It's like whenever I do common table expressions, or was it JSON too? I don't think it was JSON. It was just string. Whenever I do common table expressions, I just avoided SQLite because I think it couldn't handle it or something. I don't know. That was some time ago. So okay. Yeah. Okay. So API, and like I mentioned before, I like to do a study service or the service class or a service pattern, whatever you want to call it, and that allows me to kind of tackle two birds with one stone kind of thing. Let's see. So if I do index, I like to do custom classes too. Public function, index, JSON response. Is Symphony? No, it's this one. Okay, return response, JSON. Okay, and then in the service class, you see I already have something there. Typically for the index, I just do a builder. So if I pass in like params that I actually want to be scoped, I can do something like a when params if I can spell it correctly, params is male. Then I do query, and I could do query where is male. Something like that. I've done in the past before, like it kind of just abstracts it. So, yeah. I could do that, but for now, For now, I'll just leave it like this, and as we kind of test things out, we'll update it. So, typically for the index, I would do this service. Oh, and then I have to do a artisan make request study index request or study slash. I also like to use custom forms or custom form requests as well, because again for the web as well, or web side, I would just do the same thing. So that's study service, study index request. So essentially the controller will look almost the same except for the returns, unless I have to do specific logic that's different between web and API. So I do request validated. And then, yep, I also use gates as well, but I'll do, yeah, let's do a gate. It's called a gate? Policy. Policy, study policy. Okay. Oh, that's one thing. I always forget about this. I have to make sure they have access, but I can't. This is what I do. Let me show you. There's no mass where you can do a policy check against multiple that I know of. So I typically just like to just provide an request method. So I do protected collection. Studies. Okay. And if there's validation, I'll do a function called pass validation. So we protected function pass to validation. In this case, I know it passes validation if there's any kind of parameters I put down there for the rules. It'd be passed in with this input or this safe input, I think it is. So typically I just do can access all. Yep. Study service or access all, and so I do like a static, like, hey, well, you'll see me do it. So let's see. I don't want to get it here, so I'll just do it in the service class. Yeah. Okay. So actually, I'll just do this one in the controller. So get it here. Oops. Data. Items. It can't be. Huh. Yeah, I got those mixed up. Why am I being tripped up on this? Oh, it's an array, so I usually just do the eloquent collection. So I'm gonna do something real bad here. Oh boy. I gotta refactor this. So excuse the code. Okay. If it passes, then it passes. So I have to be an administrator, which I'll probably just adjust the logic here. Say is admin. Study plug. And we'll update the user class. And we'll do should we do union type? Array transversal. Yeah, what was enumerable? I don't remember. So we're just gonna do group IDs. Turn true for now. Okay, well, that's pretty much the index. Then we'll do public function. Update. I'll do a show. So typically what I like to do is to, if there's a custom form request, use the form request to validate if they're allowed to do it. And the controller just kind of facilitates making sure valid data is passed into the service class. I know that pattern could be risky sometimes. But that's just kind of how I do things. So you'll see what I'm talking about. This philosophy, I guess. Okay, we need to do a gate. What was it called? Define? No. Check. Do steady. No, automatically throw an error if they do. If they don't, so. Return response, JSON. Should I do data? No, I shouldn't do that. Steady. Okay. The update request, what I like to do, as you've probably seen already, is to update all the records at once. And if you're only updating one, then you're just updating one. So it just saves a lot of time to do it that way, rather than just the typical CRUD way where you pass in one model object through route model binding. So typically I just return straight from the service class. So request studies, spelling on there, nope. And request validated. Okay. And then here, again, I have to put true, just because I have to put, double check it. And if I go down here, data is going to be required if you want to update it, and that's just an array. data dot whatever comes from a validator, in which I do not have right now. So let's go ahead and make that. So, inspired by Ruby on Rails, I like to make validators for models. I think Ruby on Rails has the validator kind of trait or whatever on the model class, but it just sparked the idea. So if I do validators, and I make the validator class, we'll do a study validator. I'll abstract this later. I don't have to bore you with implementation details too much. But what I like to do, and I'll implement a interface and extend classes and all that as in a refactor, probably offstream. What I like to do is public static rules, and this is going to take a function rules. And it's going to return an array. So this is going to take is it an update? Is it filtering? And this is going to be a closure. I feel like I'm forgetting something. And probably not. I don't think so. Okay. So I do, let's see. Required is going to be update or filtering. Sometimes, and you'll see what I'm doing here. So if it's not an update, you're creating something, which means you need a required fields. If you're updating, making a patch, you don't need all the fields to be required. So the validation rule would change from that. So we have required, and then we have type, which is either created or updated at. So we'll say if it's an update, updated. And then we have created. So there's a created at, updated at, and then there's created by and updated by. So now we have the beautiful rules. So we do rules. If we, whoops. Look here, the database schema. We have a name. And that is max 255, but I'm just going to do 50. Hopefully your name's not longer than 50 characters for the Bible study part. And this is going to be required. Oops, what am I doing here? And I'll just put string. Next one is male, and this is going to be required. And boolean. Study date. Required and date. It's like the way I like to do it. I'm not sure if there's a shortcut for that. Let me know. Status, and there's probably another validation I can do, like a custom validation rule to make sure it's in the future, or it might be just like great GTE now. I don't know. I'll have to think about that later. Okay. Status. It defaults to 0, which is inactive. So I should probably do required. Integer. Study lesson ID. This is going to be required as well. And it's going to be exist lessons ID. Same thing. Yeah, I'd probably like to do some refactors and scope it to the organization if this is going to be multi-tenant, kind of used by multiple organizations. Probably a better word. And then we do if update, or yeah, if to update. Oh, okay, I know. So this is why I do the type as well. So I do type by, and then this is required. And they gotta exist. Type at word. There we go. Yeah, it looks like it's everything. And now we just return the rules. And then for the validator, oh, that's what I forgot. Okay. And then we return, yep. So if they have a merge function that they want to change the rule values on after it comes down through here, you can remove any rules or add rules or take away a rule, whatever you want to do. So this will largely, the validator will largely take the same, but it also takes data. So data, update, filtering, and the closure. Yeah, I'll fix that error up there in a second. All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was passing things down. Okay. And I pass everything now, so I do return validator, data, and static rules. And that's what I do. So whenever I do this, required integer. Oops, array. I'll put that they have to exist because semi-security reasons, I suppose. But then I do all the rules. Again, I'm going to extract this as well. Study, validator, rules. Cool. So I get the update rules. So it's not going to expect me to have required values. I said it's going to fix it, and I did it. It's going to be null. Okay. And then, yeah, so I just loop over and I change the key. So we do rules as key rule. There we go. So pretty much the data column or data key is going to have all the rules that come from the study validator. And so now I know that it's going to have that information. And so now I can do protected protected function studies. Past validation. There we go. Okay. So past the validation. Make sure to get the studies. Okay, this is where I do the can't access all, or separate. I would have separate ones. So I do abort unless typically I like to do the aborts inside of a controller or to redirect, whatever the case may be. So service access all this user, and we get the studies. If it does pass, then we just assign it. So let's make the variable you can't make this public for some reason. I don't remember why. So I have to make it private or protected, then use a public function to get the value. And past validation is always going to run. So I'm good on that. I know that there's a function called validate after or whatever. I looked up the difference. I don't remember what it was, but this works too. So okay, and then we pass in the studies, and so we run the query to update the validated values in the data against the studies that actually were in the database, and it updates. And this runs before, and if it doesn't pass validation, it won't get here. But it runs against these. And when you get to the pass validation, sorry, this is what I meant. It checks if you have access for all the ones you're trying to update. So you either got to be an admin, or if you just created all of them. That's what allows you to do it. And so we do a similar thing for store. Store is really, really simple. So we get the parameters, and we return a study. So we do study equals new study force fill params. that easy. Okay. Now we have to make the other side of this. Okay, so steady function store. Steady store request. Okay. Let's say this user verified. We'll just hit the okay, and then this simply just becomes return study validator rules. Boom, that easy. And it looks like I have a little bit of time here. And I do say the validator, and I do the test for it. So we're just using pest here. Feature directory. I'm missing the icon. New. Here we go. Feature API and yep. Okay. I don't know if I have everything instantiated or not. Let's see if I have the there we go. User factory. Do I? Nope, I do not. Let's make that real quick. Okay, just okay. First name. A little bit of typing here. I think those are nullable. I think these are unique. So I'll just say UID. I think there is a try again, or there's probably like a parameter on the email safe email thing, something like that. I don't know. I think it's safe email. Let's try it. Yeah, we'll just do the same thing. Okay. Birthday. Ismail's right up there. I think should be good. We'll see. Okay. User can index studies. Okay, so we just user. Oh, I haven't set up the routes. It's set up groups too. It has to be scoped to the groups. Let's test that later, shall we? So, does it have a factory? It does. It sure does. Oops. Okay. Oh gosh, I don't even have it. Oh gosh. Route. I forgot which one. It's gotta be facade, right? Namespace. There's no namespace. Route. Come on. Use. There we go. So do route. Where? Okay, routes. Oh, I didn't run the command. Oh, I didn't run the command, that's why. Install. Install Sanctum. Install API. Okay, You should be in there somewhere. That's a valid middleware, right? Auth. Yeah, it's right there. I guess next time I see it, I guess. Okay, route, name, studies, API. What was it called? Path? Let's forgetting a lot of things here. No. Is that name? Patch, put it where? Oh gosh, what was it called? I am so blanking right now. It's not middleware. It's the slash whatever prefix. There we go. And then controller. Oops, controllers. There we go. So you route, git, index, route, store, post, store. So we have a route, patch, put, patch. Let's leave patch for now. Update. And show. Alrighty. That should be it. That should be it. Yep, response. Alright, moment of truth. Oh my gosh. Not null. Okay, I gotta null some of these. Users. Email it. Oh, come on, man. Alright, let's try it again. That is not defined. API. studies dot API dot studies dot index. API dot studies dot index. Okay, that's not defined. Let's see. Oh, I thought it was already there. I guess because I already had the APIs file, I just didn't do it. Oops. C401. 401. What is that? Huh. And my mic muted the whole time. Silly me. Well, it's not snatchable. I have no idea why. I thought I did everything correctly, but apparently not. It's in the API. I guess we'll just do this. What is going on here? What is going on? Study service. I don't know what's going on here. So bizarre. What does it think I'm trying to do? That is bizarre. One problem after the other, huh? So route get, and do I do this? Some old syntax here. Stats, API, stats controller, index. That can't be it. Oh, I think it has to be a string. That can't be it. Can it? I don't even know anymore. What? I've done this plenty of times before, but I don't know why it's... Why is it looking at the container? That is weird. It is weird. API, it's going the right one. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess that's it. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and refactor this. I didn't want to stray for too long, but just going to refactor this, figure out what's going on, and just kind of continue from there as we kind of get to meat and potatoes of things. You can see all the code and the swagger and all that. So till next time, if there is a next time, the Watcher and I bid you farewell.